Hey, everybody, and welcome to From Justin to Kane. I'm Mike, and this is Bob.
Hey, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy New Year if you're listening to this at that time. If not, disregard what I just said. This week, since it's kind of like a year roundup, we've decided to just talk about the year 2020 and what the landscape of film looks like.
Have a nice, fun, kind of lazy holiday minisode, as it were.
Yeah, imagine us both eating turkey or tofurkey, if you're Mike, and we're in our jammies lounging, in our onesies that we got this year, and we're just eating leftovers. We're talking into a microphone, real casual, real reminiscent.
Yeah, wearing our onesies with the trapdoor on the back. Both of us have those.
Yeah, I have a trapdoor on the front, too, because, I like to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
How does that work? Does the trapdoor just cover the butt, or can you is it big enough to just encompass all pooey and pee-pee zones?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's even intended for that purpose.
I don't own a onesie with a trapdoor, but if I did, I'd want to be able to pee.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Should some of our merch be onesies, but our claim to fame is that we got a trapdoor in the front and the back?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's what the canines want, I think, merch-wise.
And then it just says woof woof on the front, and on the back it says pooey and pee pee.
With an arrow pointing at the trapdoor.
Yeah. That'd be great.
I'm down.
Be great. I feel like we could order 100 of those and sell them.
I would buy one. And that's money in the bank.
Shit.
Money from me back into my own bank account.
Exactly. That's just called good investing.
I did have a tofurkey, not tofurkey, but it was like a fake meat turkey.
Oh,
it was really, really
was it?
good. It was from a company in Vancouver Island. And it was called a stuffed beast or a roast beast.
Cool. Was it supposed to be turkey, or was it more like a beef?
It tasted like a tofurkey roast, but a little bit better actually. It was stuffed.
Nice.
Stuffed with vegetables and stuff. It was real good.
That sounds good.
So, yeah.
Nice. Well, holy shit. It was a shot in the dark when I said tofurkey, but I got close.
Oh yeah, it was
close.
Good. I assume you had like I don't know, you dined on the flesh of the beast.
I did. Yeah, we had a real bird, as it were. That's sort of the common nomenclature amongst blue collar families. Get the bird in the oven. So we had a bird.
You had a goose? A Christmas goose?
Yeah, we sure did. We spent a ton of money on a goose. We just ate duck. Oh, duck would be good for Christmas. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I had duck once. It was good.
Yeah, it's a good bird. But then I made Brussels sprouts as my contribution to the communal Christmas dinner that we delivered to everyone. And holy moly, my house just smelled like farts like nobody's business for about a day and a half.
Why?
Because I was farting. No, just kidding. It was the Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts are very stinky.
Oh, right. It's the Brussels sprouts. Wink, wink.
And then point to my trap door.
Yeah.
And then just do like a woof, ew, gross motion with my hand.
Yeah, you're wafting things away from the trap door with your hand.
Wafting them away from the door and towards my nose. Super helpful system I have. Yes. Although I was gassy this year. Christmas food always seems to fuck me up. I don't know how it treats you.
So you want to talk about movies?
No, not particularly.
Okay, yeah, so tell me more about your farts.
No, yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about some film. Okay, 2020. How was it on a scale of 1 to 10? Film-wise, Mike,
I thought you were going to say, how is it on a scale of 1 to 10 in general?
No, I don't care about it in general.
Okay.
I just care about, new movies did come out in 2020.
New movies did come out. No one will deny that.
Yeah, and some of them were pretty dang good.
Yes. I found, I went through my letterbox, didn't really watch a whole lot of new movies that came out in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Was it more of a year of reflection and you were watching films you should have seen but hadn't yet? Did it turn into that?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people it was a year of nostalgic, just trying to find comfort food, but movies, not actual food.
Yes.
And then also, for me, also just trying to find stuff that I had never seen before, which helped with this having a podcast also. because
yeah, totally.
It was an excuse to watch a movie you hadn't seen yet.
Yeah, this podcast certainly helped with just, my base level is to watch just trash. But this podcast helped me. It gives me incentive to, broaden my horizons and try to watch things that are a little more stimulating and not just Sandra Bullock vehicles, So I'm thankful for that.
And for me, it's the opposite. Generally, if I have time to watch a movie by myself, I'll watch something that is like challenging or something that I generally don't super enjoy watching, but I feel like I have to, like some weird eat your vegetables idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this podcast was a good way for me to watch just utter crap that I never would watch.
That's hilarious that we really come at this from opposing viewpoints.
That's why it works.
So, are there like a few films that stood out this year that you loved watching? That don't have to be new or anything, but like films that you're really glad, just like we're at the top of your list for 2020.
Well, in terms of movies that came out in 2020, I didn't watch a crazy amount, but I think probably like the best movies I saw that came out in this year were, Portrait of a Lady on Fire came out last year. But
right.
Technically, but it didn't really get released for me to be able to watch it until this year. So I don't know. I count that as like a 2020 cusp film, if I can.
Definitely. And I feel like it did well in 2020.
Yeah, it did. It was kind of...
It made its mark.
It was in the indie film zeitgeist for a while.
Yeah.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I thought that was great. We did an epi on it. We did a two-parter, actually. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah. This is kind of like a looking back on our own obscure podcast episode where we're just like, hey, remember this episode? We should have done a clip show.
Oh, yeah. Just phone it in like they did on Friends.
Yeah.
Just have a clipsode, and then they don't actually have to shoot anything.
Yeah, we could even do a clip of our Friends episode, too.
Ooh. See, I forgot we did
a Friends episode?
I remember now. Yeah, that was a long time ago, but it came out recently.
It did, yeah.
Wow, time is a strange concept, everyone.
Other 2020 films that stood out, The Five Bloods. You see that one? You see this? You hear about this movie?
Oh, yeah. That film was amazing.
Yeah, The Five Bloods was great. Spike Lee's return to form after, I guess, a return to form with Black Klansman.
Yeah, that movie was great, too.
He was never really not Spike Lee. I think when he just sold out temporarily and made like Old Boy.
Yeah, there was a brief period
that was a mistake,
where
but he's always been kind of like working on documentaries and stuff. So other great 2020 movies. There's actually during October, we watched a lot of horror movies.
Yes.
And there was a movie that came out on Netflix called His House, which was about the immigrant experience moving to the UK. Yeah, it was really good. It just kind of was it was one of those good horror movies that uses a metaphor to get some good scares while also making you think. So I thought that movie was actually pretty well done.
Cool.
And a nice surprise too. Didn't really know what to expect. I did watch that movie, and it was like, it's a harrowing film, but it's really well done and very, very creepy and scary. But I did watch that movie as a double feature with Hubie Halloween, also the same year.
Wow.
What a spooky Halloween double feature that tonally couldn't be more different.
Yeah, no kidding. That sounds really jarring and unpleasant, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, you watch Hubie Halloween second.
Okay. Yeah, that's the right order.
But Hubie Halloween, a return to form for the Sandman, can I say?
Do people call him the Sandman?
Some people do, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Any other little 2020 movies?
While we're talking about Sandman, Uncut Gems was a 2019 movie, but it's a 2020 cusp film, I guess, because it didn't come out until 2020 on Netflix.
You know what's interesting is I feel like all the cusp films were also the Oscar contenders. You know what I mean? Like 1917 feels like a cusp movie. Uncut Gems was a cusp movie.
Uncusp Gems?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a few other ones, obviously, that I cannot recall. But yeah, they all felt like cusp films.
Couple of cuspies.
Just a couple of cuspies.
another cuspy would be Cats.
Oh, yes, the magnum opus.
Me and you saw Cats
2020.
on... That was the first film... I believe it was the first film I saw in 2020, which may have been... I don't want to... I'm not superstitious, but I think it was that caused all of this.
You wouldn't be the only one who thinks that, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we saw Cats on New Year's Day, 2020.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's right. Weird. I was just listening to an interview with James Corden, and he said, he's like, all things aside, that was one of the most pleasant experiences of his life filming it. He was there for like 6 to 8 days and just like nothing but A-listers, and they just got to dance.
Yeah.
And sing. And like, yeah, that sounds like a really good time.
I think Cats is actually going to age very well.
I hope it does.
It's going to become a cult hit. It's going to just be regarded as not being as terrible as people say it is.
It's going to have a resurgence.
It's going to have a resurgence. It's like the Broadway musical. The same thing's going to happen. People are going to look back and be like, oh, Cats is actually good.
Yes.
Yeah, James Corden shouldn't slag Cats, I don't think, because
he doesn't.
He's arguably the worst part of the film.
That's a hot take.
Him and Rebel Wilson are the two weak links on the film.
Yes.
His Bustopher Jones song is well done, but just the interminable cat improv that they do together, it's like, yeah, we know like literally all the cat puns. You don't need to do them.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to roll out the greatest hits, though, Mike.
I guess so. And I'm sure there are some people who loved it, who loved all those bad cat puns.
It's interesting that, so many releases kind of happened via streaming services, like Netflix rolled out a lot of new shit this year, as did Amazon and as did Crave. Mm-hmm. Those are the three I have. In Canada, yeah.
Lest we forget our boy Disney Plus.
Which I don't have, but definitely, I'm sure there's lots of good stuff on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got The Mandalorian, you got Ratatouille. What more could you want?
Yeah. I have not watched that movie Soul yet that we were talking about last epi.
I just saw it advertised actually for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is what Mike is talking about.
Yeah.
It looks fine.
It looks fine. I'm excited just for the music.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. It's funny. I thought it'd be like Seoul, South Korea, the capital city. That's what I thought. That's what I thought Seoul was all about. And boy, was I wrong. What's the worst film of 2020, do you think? I watched a lot of Netflix 2020 movies, just like your run-of-the-mill, shitty, kind of uninteresting films.
Yes.
Like Ava with Jessica Chastain.
Oh, yeah.
Not very good. I wasn't particularly fond of Rebecca, the remake.
You saw that?
I did.
It's on Netflix already?
Yeah.
Oh, and do you love Armie Hammer?
I do love Armie Hammer. Huge fan of Armie Hammer. I just think they don't need to remake that film. The Hitchcock one is outstanding. Yeah,
there's no reason to remake any Hitchcock movie, really, but
it felt like a waste to me.
Yeah, you said you watched A Holiday?
I did.
And?
Wasn't a huge fan, but I loved Happiest Season.
Oh, yeah, right. When did you watch that? Just the other day?
Yeah, I did. Just like 3 days ago.
Yeah, I heard it was good. Starring Canada's Dan Levy.
Yes, our only popular actor currently.
Currently, yeah.
He was good. He was like one of the best parts, and he had such a small part in the film.
Yeah.
He was quite insignificant, but holy shit, I thought he knocked it out of the park. He was so funny.
Supposedly, according to Letterboxd, one of the worst films, or the most lowest rated films, is 365 Days, which is a Netflix original also.
Oh, isn't it that sexy movie?
That sexy movie that everybody's always talking about. Also, Hard Kill, a generically titled, generic-looking action film with Bruce Willis. Another Bruce Willis movie, Survive the Night, which also looks like it was designed by the same poster designer and maybe even the same photo shoot of Bruce Willis.
I feel like Bruce Willis is really just taking what he can get now.
He somehow turned into the Nicolas Cage of our time.
There was one other movie. Oh my gosh, what is it? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, the new George Clooney movie, The Midnight Sky. I just watched,
and
it is pretty boring.
Oh yeah, he directed it.
He directed it and he stars in it. And the best thing about it is how crisp his beard looks throughout the film.
Right.
He's constantly in peril, and his beard is just fly as hell.
Yeah.
And that's the only real note I have. The spaceship is cool. Casting is pretty solid, but just like a very unremarkable story. Yeah, it kind of feels like it's like reminiscent of WALL-E in terms of tonality and what the story is all about.
Yeah.
And just it has way less impact. Just talking about like the end of humanity and like what the future holds. WALL-E is far more interesting and impactful than The Midnight Sky, starring and directed by George Clooney.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I did not watch I'm thinking of ending things. I'm a huge Charlie Kaufman fan. I read his like 700-page book this year, but I did not watch the movie that came out like a couple of months later. I don't know why. I just never ended up. I just don't like watching things on Netflix, I guess. Yeah,
I just started it and then I turned it off. I've seen about the first 15 minutes and I was like, I don't know if I can get through this. But then I saw a post showing me frames from the film. From throughout the film, and I was like, oh man, there's a bunch of scenes that look really interesting that I have no idea would be relevant to this story. Now I gotta watch it. It piqued my interest, but it took Instagram showing me useless bullshit for me to want to watch the movie.
But like, what were your best new movies that you saw?
Best new movies? Well, Portrait of a Lady on Fire for sure was up there. I also just watched Palm Springs.
Oh, right. Yeah, I never did see that.
With Andy Samberg, and it is great. It's on Amazon Prime now, and not just Hulu. I would highly recommend watching it. It is awesome. I thought it was super funny, and it's quite clever, and it really like smushes genre really well.
Right. Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day kind of idea, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, I thought that was super solid. I watched Ava. It wasn't very good, but it made me want to watch a bunch of Jessica Chastain movies. So I watched Zero Dark 30 and Molly's Game immediately after. So that's kind of interesting.
Okay.
I don't know if this came out in 2020, but HBO's miniseries This Much I Know Is True with Mark Ruffalo and directed by Derek Cianfrance, or however you say it. It was great. I don't know if it was 2020, but if it was, that's definitely up there. It's an amazing miniseries. It's very dark, very depressing, but very compelling, and also quite funny at times, too.
Did you watch The Queen's Gambit?
I certainly have time to watch it. I just haven't watched it. I also have a thing, the top 10 on Netflix?
Yes.
I often avoid it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, I don't want to be one of the sheep watching Bright.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean... Yeah, Netflix has kind of become just cable for people, or it has become just the word that means watching a thing. And some people are just some people aren't like, they're not cinephiles like us, they're not smart, cultured people. They're just kind of like just dumb people just trying to fill the void of life. So
yeah,
the top 10 is basically for those people, and or not necessarily for them, but it just kind of shows what people are watching and like how bad their taste is. Because sometimes the top 10 things are just god awful. But like that 365 Days, I remember was at the top 10. Was on the top 10 for a while.
And so was Ava. And I don't think it's an accurate metric as to what's worth watching or not worth watching.
Yeah, exactly. Because like there's no accounting for taste, because Love Island is probably on there for all I know.
I will say, I had one night, Mike, recently where I could not sleep. So I got back up. It was like 2 a.m. and I turned on 12 Dates of Christmas, which is it's very much reminiscent of Love Island or Love is Blind or Too Hot to Handle. Just like a season of TV where people try to find love in these ridiculous contrived situations while cameras are pointed at them.
Yes.
And I watched half of the first episode and I was like, I'm not into this. It's too Christmassy. But I did dabble in the trash very briefly because I couldn't sleep. Yeah. Sometimes you got to dabble in the trash.
You've been rolling in the trash this year. You had like a rom-com year. You watched films with no prejudice. You just were like, I'll just watch anything that's of this genre or genre adjacent.
It's true. I like to bathe myself in, themes or genre or an actor's resume. Mm-hmm. I just like to go all in and just watch it for better or for worse.
Yeah, you were like a pig rolling in dust.
It's true. No, in mud. I'm just rolling up in mud. I gotta stay cold. I gotta cool myself off.
Oh yeah, what's the animal that has a dust bath?
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Maybe it's a bird. A bird of some kind. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
How did you find the pandemic year being like you had a lot of solitude this year, more so than most other years?
Definitely.
Did you find that you took like a pleasure in having the time alone to just watch movies and TV, or was it draining?
I loved it. My recharge is being alone. And then you like go out and socialize. So it was great. Obviously, there was a point in which I was going crazy, but for the most part, no, I loved it. And I love being alone. And like, Christmas time, like a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of Zoom meetings, quick like drive by waving at people. And I feel pretty tuckered out this year too, socially, even though it was significantly less interaction than a normal Christmas year. But I don't know. It was I loved it. But I've been very lucky. This year's been good. And like, thank God there are movies to watch. If I was stuck watching the DVDs I own, I'd be watching Doctor Strangelove every day, which is not helpful for anybody. You know what I mean? So what if this year you were stuck just watching, say like the internet wasn't as common as it is now, and you were stuck watching just the DVDs and VHSs you own? Would you have enough to get by, or like would you go crazy having to rewatch Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire 58 times?
Well, I don't own the Harry Potter movies, first of all.
That was a shot in the dark, and I missed. I missed the shot.
You missed hard,
yeah, I got Tofurky right, but I really shit the bed on the guess of the DVD.
No, like I watched Harry Potter when they came out. I read the books, but also like I'm a friggin' adult now,
Adults? I don't know, man. I meet a lot of adults who still talk about Harry Potter with reverence. So.
Yeah, that's a problem is what I'm saying.
Maybe I have questionable friends.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not judging anybody on their taste. I still like Weird Al. I still, watch The Simpsons. I still pretty much play Nintendo. I have all the same hobbies I had when I was 13. I like all the same music too. I'm definitely in that Arrested Development, but yeah. Harry Potter holds no cultural weight to me, unfortunately. But no, in terms of the question you asked, I think I would be able to sustain myself for the entire year with all the DVDs and Blu-rays I own.
Yeah, you think?
Oh yeah, like because when HMV went out of business, I combed through all of the HMVs for a couple of days.
That's awesome. I didn't have the foresight to do that. I just let that business go under.
A friend of mine posted a picture on Instagram of all of his haul. And he was like, I got all of this for like $150 or something. And it was just so many movies. So I went to a couple of HMVs and they were just selling everything, like 3 for $10 or something like that, Blu-rays. And there's some real good finds. There's also some movies I never saw before that I snapped up. So nice. Yeah, it was very lucrative. So I have a lot of Blu-rays now. Plus I also started kind of collecting Criterions in the last couple of years too.
Right. I have a question for you. Do you own films you have yet to watch?
I would say a good 50% of the movies I own, I haven't even seen yet.
Really?
Maybe not 50%, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of movies I have yet to see that I own, which is, I guess, a good thing. Like I had In the Mood for Love.
Oh, right.
I was sitting on that for like a year and a half probably before I actually ever ended up watching it. But that's because
what a gold mine.
That's because it's on Criterion, and that's what Criterion collectors do.
Yeah, you just keep buying them.
It's almost more fun to buy something than it is to watch it.
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah. I've bought many a book that just is a nice decoration for my bookshelf. Yeah.
Been there. Was there any like movies that you watched for the first time in 2020 for the pod that really stuck out?
I want to say yes, but I mean, Ghoulies 3, obviously that was awesome. I had a great time with Ghoulies. Raw was a first time.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a great movie. I mean, it was very, very good. It was very raw, dare I say. I'm trying to think. I feel like, Halloween, because I'm not a big horror buff. Halloween was just like a real education for me because I have a hard time. I don't want to watch horror movies by myself. But because of the podcast, it's just a good incentive to sit down and watch it. And so I had to muscle through all of them. So yeah, I'd just say the Halloween stuff we did was very educational.
Yeah.
And I still hate watching. Obviously, I don't know. I would rather watch a rom-com than a horror movie by myself.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Let's talk really quickly about Christmas movies. Like, did you get into it this year with Christmas movies, or did you just kind of watch movies as normal?
I mean, I kind of watched whatever people were wanting to watch. I didn't initiate it this year. We did end up watching on my suggestion the Jim Carrey, Robert Zemeckis Christmas Carol.
Oh, how is it?
I think it's great. It's super dark.
It's animated, right?
It's animated. It's super dark. The motion capture looks cool. Also illuminates a lot of the original dialogue from Dickens. So it's cool to just see a more traditional adaptation of it.
That's really cool.
Story's adapted a lot. So I don't even know what the original story is like. Like I haven't seen the Alistair Sim one.
It's quite good, but it's not even, it's super dark for the era, but I'm sure the Jim Carrey one is darker.
Yeah, there's some like pretty creepy moments in it. It's like borderline horror film.
Yeah, and I think that's what the book was more intended to be tonally, is super dark.
Yeah, and we also watched The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, very good, very good.
Which I think is probably the superior Christmas Carol.
Even better than Dickens's own Christmas Carol?
Assuming the Robert Zemeckis one is close to the original. I don't know. The Muppet one just is so charming, but also weirdly like sad for a Muppet thing.
Yeah.
Like it's weird seeing Kermit give a little monologue about just how we're all going to die one day after Tiny Tim dies. And it's also weird. I've never seen Miss Piggy mourn anything before. Also, I thought that was a strange thing to see.
It's fascinating how they push the envelope of puppet real world cinema and how you can really just up the ante on the realism and the emotional sort of intelligence of the piece, and have a talking frog give a monologue about mortality and then a talking pig weep.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
When Tiny Tim dies, Kermit starts his little monologue about how this is the first of our partings, There'll be many more partings to come. It's just it's so sad.
But also teaching a lesson,
Yeah, but also, have there been in other Muppet movies, do characters die? I think this is the only movie where like character or Muppets perish.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never seen a Muppets movie.
What?
Yeah, never seen them.
Yeah, I don't think that the Muppets die in any single one of their films, except for in A Muppet Christmas Carol. It's the only one where they come to grips with mortality, which is kind of odd that it's such a unique entry in the Muppets franchise. And it's so morbid and melancholy, whereas the other ones are all super goofy.
Speaking of children's programming being very morbid and melancholy, another great film I saw this year, which kind of relates, is It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Mr. Rogers film with Tom Hanks.
But that was good?
Yeah, I loved it. And it made me go on like just looking up Mr. Rogers clips binge for a while.
But Tom Hanks doesn't even look like Mr. Rogers.
It doesn't matter. It's just good, Tom Hanks rules.
He got COVID first.
Oh yeah, he was the first.
He was in many ways he's the celebrity spokesperson for COVID.
I watched It's a Wonderful Life 2 days ago at 5 a.m. And it was awesome. I teared up at the end.
I was going to say, what is it about Christmas movies about moneylenders that get to see their life in a like alternate reality context?
I wonder if there's a subgenre like omniscient higher power bestowing new perspective exploitation, this like really intense subgenre.
It's kind of true.
Christmas Carol. Yeah, it is true. And like, I think it's just a good device for character change, right? 'Cause another film with David Niven and Cary Grant. Let me just look it up really quick. It's also a Christmas movie, but he plays an angel and he comes down and he teaches David Niven how to be like less selfish, basically.
Right.
So there is like, it's definitely a genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is kind of weird. But also, like, we can watch...
The Bishop's Wife.
Oh, The Bishop's Wife.
Yeah. And he just basically teaches David Niven to be less selfish, and he helps their marriage along. But he also falls in love with the dude's wife. Bit convoluted. The screenplay obviously got a little weird. Mm-hmm. But there are many films about just like paranormal intervention to change a person's perspective.
But I mean, if you want to watch a movie about a moneylender, but you don't want the moneylender to be a bad guy, like Scrooge, you can watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
and see that moneylender's life get turned around.
Mm-hmm. It's a Wonderful Life is very good. It's like a Frank Capra classic.
Yeah, I remember loving that movie when I saw it.
Not a Christmas movie, but I watched it on Christmas Day. Seberg.
Oh, about Jane Seberg.
About Jane Seberg. Yeah. I thought it was a cool movie. It was pretty sweet.
With Kristen Stewart.
Yes.
So you saw?
Have you seen it?
No. No. I've only seen Jane Seberg movies, and I've never seen the movie about her.
Right.
So did you watch Happiest Season, and then you're like, I gotta watch more Kristen Stewart movies?
No, not really. She was sort of irrelevant to my decision making. I saw the Christmas movie, and then was listening to a Rachel Morrison podcast, and she's the one who shot Seberg. And I was like, oh yeah, I should watch Seberg. That's like interesting Hollywood history. Mm-hmm. Similar to Mank, like very political and historical, and just like fascinating glimpse into the past. So I thought it was a great movie. Very well done. And yeah, I thought Kristen Stewart did a good job too. She's a great actor.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people hated her for a while during the Twilight days. Same with Robert Pattinson, but they've both kind of paved their own way and become really compelling actors.
Yeah, who would have thought that the two leads from Twilight would become some of the more compelling Hollywood actors these days?
Yeah, but then the other guy, the werewolf guy, what's he doing?
Taylor Lautner?
Yeah, well, like what's he doing that's any good?
Just being a hunk, having abs.
I guess. That's true. But like Robert Pattinson's a hunk, but very like successful and respected as an actor. Mm-hmm. But maybe he's just making more interesting decisions with casting.
Yeah.
Like he has sex with a mermaid that is Willem Dafoe in one movie.
Yes.
And then he's in a time reversing clusterfuck of a movie called Tenet.
Oh yeah, right. That movie came out this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, neither have I. Do you want to see it?
Yeah. I do, but obviously we're not going to see it on the big screen, so I'll probably just have to rent it.
I'm going to
watch it on my 720p TV. But I got big speakers so I can hear the deafening sounds that drown out the dialogue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, it's just interesting, like those two, and like, yeah, Kristen Stewart for a while, everyone was like, she sucks, she can't act, and now she's just like in banger after banger.
Yeah, I don't know. There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Robert Pattinson's the same way.
And Taylor Lautner?
Working out all the time. She probably has an amazing indie career.
We just didn't know about it.
We just don't know about it. Yeah. But another person is like Daniel Radcliffe. Like he's making very interesting decisions with his career too. It's interesting when actors have to get away from a franchise, and then to see how they navigate that is really interesting.
I mean, if it wasn't for Harry Potter, we wouldn't have Swiss Army Man.
Exactly. Like you do have to think about that.
So I guess Harry Potter is important to me because I love Swiss Army Man.
Exactly. I have yet to see that movie. I got to watch it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you keep telling me that, and then I watch the trailer, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch this.
Well, if it's not for you, it's not for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. It's about a guy wwho befriends a corpse. So
I know, and that sounds awesome, sort of.
And the music's all a cappella.
Really?
It's all a cappella performed by the actors. All of the music,
just like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, that THX.
Yeah, that's right.
Scene where they all start like howling at the fire, and it just sounds like the THX sound effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that was a pretty good mini-sode.
Yeah. I don't know what we covered, but it was something.
We kind of just talked about the best of stuff we saw. But yeah, anyway, good epi. Good epi. It's
that was great.
Last epi of the year. It was nice to like look back.
A retrospective.
A little retrospective. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll just see everybody in 2021 with some more pods.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Keep just going to the dog park and doing what you do as a canine, and we'll chat with you in the year 2021.
Doing what you do as a canine?
Going to the dog park, licking water out of a bowl, smelling. That's it.
We should have a from Justin to Kane like virtual dog park meetup where people can virtually sniff each other's butts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
basically just meet each other.
Yeah, like online, just an online hang.
Yeah, where all the canines meet.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everyone, and happy 2020.
Happy 2021. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.